Megan, and today I'm here to bring you a book review of The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. This is the Perustopia book club pick for the month of November, and this month we are working with Simon & Schuster. Boy oh boy, was this book one heck of a ride. This is a science fiction thriller novel, I guess, following our main character Nemesis, who has been literally crafted and created for the sole purpose of protecting and sacrificing their life to protect someone else. But at the beginning of this novel, Nemesis is kind of sent on a mission because the best way to protect the person she was designed for is to actually impersonate them and kind of take their place at the Galactic Council. This Galactic Council, if you will, is not something that you would initially seem. It is a place full of decadence, it is a place full of corruption, it is a place full of crazy people just trying to survive, and oh my gosh, the type of drama that ensues in this book because of it was pretty top-notch. This story is fast-paced. It will get your adrenaline pumping, it'll make you laugh, it'll make you nervous, maybe you'll cry a little bit. I certainly did. Overall, I really enjoyed this book and I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars, but let's just go ahead and dive a little deeper into the review. The first part of this book I'm going to touch on are the characters, specifically our main character Nemesis. This whole story centered around this Diabolic, this person who's not supposed to have any human feelings, any human connections, basically designed to live for someone else, and they are supposed to be totally fine with that. It was very, very fascinating. Nemesis as a character is complex in the way that she is having an internal struggle the entire book. Basically, she has been in denial that she can feel, as a human can, and when she begins to feel, she feels like she is being the most selfish person on the planet, and that she's kind of becoming this mockery of what a Diabolic should be, someone who should only literally live to serve someone else. But it's just such an interesting component of the story, kind of reading from her perspective of beginning to understand and accept herself as a human was fascinating. But then also the fact that Nemesis, while, you know, is beginning to feel these things, she is not perfect, and she is not entirely a stereotypical a human, I guess you would say. Like, she has experiences that are going to craft her perspective and how she interacts and deals with people a lot, and I appreciated that while she was beginning to accept herself, it also meant that she was accepting who she is and her personality as well. Like, she didn't completely abandon herself in the process, she just became more comfortable with herself overall, and it was just absolutely fascinating. Aside from that, there's just a plethora of very interesting characters. I briefly mentioned that this court that Nemesis goes to is like insane. It is essentially a place where the most ridiculously self-centric, like indulgent people live, and because of that you get a plethora of interesting people to read about, and it definitely kept the story very interesting and it kept me on the edge of my seat. We have a prince who seems a little more than he might be but is crazy. We have best friends that are from planet colonies. It's just interesting and diverse in ways that I just really enjoyed. Moving on from that, this world was again crazy. I mentioned the indulgent nature of this council or this congress or whatever, but beyond that, this world that all these characters exist in is absolutely fascinating. This is a sci-fi story set in the future, but in a lot of ways it's about a regressed society. Yes, they have all this technology, yes, they can space travel, yes, they can like alter their appearance at will, but in a lot of ways they've taken a lot of step backwards as a society itself. Basically, this is a group of people living off of the creations of many generations past, meaning generations past have created all this technology and the ability to space travel, but all of that knowledge has been lost, so all of the upkeep of the machines and the technology are done by other machines. No one actually knows how to do it, and in fact, science and learning and all of that is banned by the government. It is thought to be both a waste of time and kind of how you become corrupted as an individual. So we have this very interesting contrast of this scientific, what we in our world, in our life, would view as like, wow, that is the future, but it's also so very much the past. It kind of alludes to this like 14th, 15th century mentality of science is the devil, and it's just a very interesting thing to play off each other in the story that I just found to be very fascinating. That being said, while I really enjoyed the world and like all the indulgency and all of that was very interesting, I actually wanted more. There was some space travel in this. I could have done for some more. I like learning about other planets. Just the politics and the philosophy of this world was super interesting that I actually just found myself wanting to learn more. On top of that, the plot of this story was super fast-paced. It was so action-packed, which shouldn't be a surprise because our main character, being a Diabolic and literally trained to kill, is going to be doing a lot of fighting because that's something she's very, very good at. But it also has other elements of political intrigue and romance and things like that, but everything is done in such a way that it feels very equal and nothing kind of overtakes the story at all. It's just so, I literally read this book in a day. I was traveling and I was like, oh, I'll just read like 100 pages here and there, but then I just read the whole thing because it's so fast-paced. You want to know what's going to happen, the politics, the story itself takes turns that you're not expecting, and it was just such an enjoyable read overall. My biggest complaint I would say about this story is that it felt like it ended a little abruptly. There were so many interesting threads of the story and so many very complex movements within the plot, but everything ultimately kind of wrapped up a little too perfectly and a little too quickly for me. I just wish it was slightly longer to kind of explore some of the nuances of this world further, but that is really kind of the biggest thing I have to say about this book in terms of something I didn't like so much, because I just really liked pretty much every other aspect of said story. But yeah, all that being said, this was just a fast-paced scientific story following a super complex and gray and dynamic main character that struggles with a lot of like internal emotion, which I just think is a very fascinating character to read from. And again, overall, I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. I really, really enjoyed it. And if you're interested in more spoilery details about our thoughts, Sasha and I are of course going to be doing a live show at the end of this month where we will go into all of that. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this non-spoiler review of this book, and I will see you guys soon with another video soon. Goodbye!